Number 15, 1967 Holden HR X2 Special Sedan. In 1967, Holden introduced the HR X2 Special Sedan, a car that helped define Australia's early muscle car scene. While American muscle cars were flexing their V8 power, Holden took a different approach, blending performance with everyday drivability. Under the hood, the HR X2 packed a 2.6-liter inline-six with twin carburetors, pushing out 145 horsepower. That might seem modest today, but for late 60s Australia, it was impressive. It came with a 3-speed manual transmission, though buyers could opt for a 2-speed Powerglide automatic. The HR X2 was all about accessibility, offering sportier performance while still being a practical family car. Its twin carb setup gave it a nice punch, making it a favorite among Australian driving enthusiasts. The styling was sharp for its time, with a bold grille, chrome accents, and a clean, no-nonsense look. Holden built just 2,600 of these, making it a rare collector's car today. In recent years, pristine examples have sold for upwards of 50,000 Australian dollars, with demand continuing to grow. For many Aussies, the HR X2 represents a time when Holden was just starting to carve out its place in the world of performance cars. Number 14, 1969 Valiant Pacer. Chrysler Australia jumped into the muscle car game in 1969 with the Valiant Pacer, an affordable, no-frills performance sedan aimed at young drivers craving speed without breaking the bank. At its heart was a 225 slant-six engine producing 175 horsepower, paired with a 3-speed manual transmission and a floor-mounted shifter, uncommon at that time. The car's low-restriction exhaust and 3.23:1 rear exhaust ratio gave it solid acceleration, hitting 0 to 60 miles per hour in just over 10 seconds, a respectable number for its class. What set the Pacer apart was its raw, stripped-down nature. Chrysler removed unnecessary luxuries to keep weight down, improving handling and acceleration. The bold stripes and vibrant factory colors, like wild yellow and Hemi orange, made it a head-turner. Only 1,500 were built, making it a rare classic today. Back then, it was an affordable performance machine, but today, collectors pay upwards of 70,000 Australian dollars for well-preserved examples. It may not have had the brute force of a V8, but the Pacer's sharp handling and aggressive styling made it an Aussie muscle car icon. Number 13, 1974 Valiant Charger Sportsman. In 1974, Chrysler Australia unveiled the Valiant Charger Sportsman, a limited edition model that blended muscle car performance with unique styling. The Sportster was powered by a 265 Hemi 6-cylinder engine, cranking out 203 horsepower. It came standard with the 3-speed automatic, power steering, and front disc brakes, making it a comfortable yet powerful ride. The real standout feature was its houndstooth interior, which added a touch of class to an already stylish machine. Only 500 units of the Charger Sportsman were ever produced, making it a rare gem. Its white body with red and blue racing stripes paid homage to American muscle cars while maintaining a distinct Australian identity. Today, the Charger Sportsman is a highly sought-after collector's car. Pristine examples have been known to fetch over 100,000 Australian dollars, with values continuing to rise. Its unique mix of exclusivity, stylish design, and solid performance make it one of the most intriguing Aussie muscle cars of the era. Number 12, 1973 Ford Landau. In 1973, Ford Australia blended luxury and muscle into one car, the Ford Landau. It was designed as a grand tourer, offering high-end comfort without sacrificing power. Under the hood sat a 5.8-liter Cleveland V8, making 300 horsepower, plenty of grunt for long highway drives. A 3-speed FMX automatic transmission ensured smooth acceleration, and 4-wheel disc brakes, a rarity at the time, gave it impressive stopping power. The Landau's styling was distinct, with hidden headlights, a vinyl roof, and a wide, imposing grille. Inside, it was all about luxury: plush leather seats, wood grain accents, and power windows, features uncommon in Australian cars back then. Ford built only 1,385 units of the Landau, making it rare today. With its unique mix of muscle and refinement, well-preserved examples now command over 120,000 Australian dollars. The Landau remains an underappreciated classic, proving that muscle cars didn't always have to be stripped-down road warriors. They could be sophisticated too. Number 11, 1976 Holden Monaro HX LE Coupe. By 1976, the muscle car era was on borrowed time, thanks to fuel crises and emissions regulations. But Holden wasn't going to let the Monaro Coupe go out quietly. They gave it a proper farewell with the HX LE Limited Edition. The HX LE packed a 5.0-liter V8 pushing 250 horsepower, paired with a 3-speed automatic, While not the most powerful Monaro ever, it focused more on luxury than raw speed. It came with power steering, air conditioning, and even an 8-track stereo system, high-end tech for the time. What made the HX LE stand out was its bold metallic red paint, gold pinstripes, and honeycomb grille. The interior was decked out in plush crushed velour, walnut-look trim, and deep carpeting, making it feel more like a lounge than a muscle car. Only 580 units were built, making it an instant collector's item. Back in 1976, it cost 11,500 Australian dollars, a hefty price. Today, pristine examples fetch up to 250,000 Australian dollars, proving that while the HX LE wasn't the fastest Monaro, it went out in style. Number 10, 1970 Holden Torana GTR-X. In 1970, Holden nearly changed the face of Australian muscle cars with the Torana GTR-X, a futuristic, lightweight sports coupe that never made it past the prototype stage. The GTR-X had a 3.0-liter straight-six producing 160 horsepower, but thanks to its fiberglass body, it was incredibly light, just over 2,200 pounds, 1,000 kilograms. That gave it impressive acceleration for the era. A 4-speed manual transmission added to the driving thrill. This car looked like something from a sci-fi movie. It had pop-up headlights, a wedge-shaped design, and a sleek, minimalist interior with bucket seats. It was Holden's take on a Chevrolet Corvette mixed with a Lotus Europa. Small, light, and built for speed. But despite its innovative engineering, Holden scrapped the project over concerns that it wouldn't sell enough units. Only 3 prototypes were built, making the GTR-X one of Australia's biggest what-if cars. Today, the remaining GTR-X prototypes are priceless, locked away in Australian automotive museums. Fans still wonder what could have been. If Holden had gone all in, it might have created Australia's first homegrown supercar. Number 9, 1971 Valiant Charger VH770. The 1971 Valiant Charger VH770 was Chrysler Australia's bold muscle car entry, designed to be fast, stylish, and luxurious. Under the hood, the 265 Hemi straight-six produced up to 218 horsepower, depending on the trim. Buyers could choose a 3-speed automatic or 4-speed manual, making it a flexible option for both performance lovers and everyday drivers. What made the VH770 special was its styling. It had a short wheelbase, aggressive stance, and a fastback shape that screamed muscle car. Inside, the car was surprisingly refined, with optional leather seats, wood grain trim, and a sporty dashboard. Chrysler built the Charger VH770 to appeal to a broad audience, making it more common than some other Aussie muscle cars. However, finding one in mint condition today is tough. Restored examples regularly sell for over 90,000 Australian dollars. The VH770 was a balanced muscle car, powerful but comfortable, stylish but practical. Even though it wasn't the absolute fastest, it remains a favorite among Australian collectors. Number 8, 1973 Ford Falcon XA GT RPO 83. The 1973 Ford Falcon XA GT RPO 83 was an accidental legend. Born out of leftover racing parts, it turned into one of the most potent Aussie muscle cars ever built. Under the hood was a 5.8-liter Cleveland V8 pumping out 300 horsepower. Ford paired it with a 4-speed manual or 3-speed automatic. What made it special was that Ford secretly installed high-performance parts from its canceled racing program, making the RPO 83 much faster than a regular XA GT. The fastback design was pure muscle car swagger, but beneath the sleek body, this was a race car in disguise. Ford never advertised the performance enhancements, but those in the know understood they were getting something special. Only 250 RPO 83s were ever built, making them one of the rarest Falcons today. Because of their racing DNA and limited numbers, they now fetch over 200,000 Australian dollars, with values still rising. For collectors, the XA GT RPO 83 is gold, a muscle car that was never supposed to exist but ended up being one of Australia's greatest V8 beasts. Number 7, 1972 Holden Torana LJ GTR-XU-1. The 1972 Holden Torana LJ GTR-XU-1 was the little car that could, taking on big V8-powered muscle cars and winning. Powered by a 3.3-liter inline-six with triple Stromberg carburetors, the XU-1 made 190 horsepower. It wasn't about brute force. This car was light, nimble, and built for racing. Paired with a 4-speed manual, it had the perfect power-to-weight ratio for Australian circuits. The XU-1 became legendary at Bathurst, Australia's biggest race. While V8 rivals struggled with fuel consumption and handling, the XU-1's agility and endurance let it outlast and outmaneuver the competition. Holden built around 1,600 units, but few remain in original condition. Because of its racing legacy, values have soared. Mint examples sell for over 250,000 Australian dollars today. The XU-1 proved that muscle cars weren't just about size. With the right balance of power, weight, and engineering, even a 6-cylinder car could beat the big boys. Number 6. 1988 Holden VL Commodore SS Group ASV. Nicknamed the Plastic Pig for its extensive use of fiberglass bodywork, the 1988 Holden VL Commodore SS Group ASV was a wild, race-ready muscle car built by Holden Special Vehicles, HSV. Under the hood was a 5.0-liter V8 pushing 241 horsepower, paired with a 5-speed manual transmission. Holden also fitted it with aerodynamic upgrades, including a massive rear wing, making it look like a touring car straight from the racetrack. This was the first car to wear the HSV badge, marking the beginning of a new era for Holden performance. It was a homologation special, built to meet race regulations, which meant it was racetrack ready from the factory. Only 750 units were produced, ensuring its place as a collector's favorite. Today, prices exceed 300,000 Australian dollars, proving that, plastic pig or not, this Commodore is an Aussie icon. Number 5. 1968 Holden Monaro GTS. The 1968 Holden Monaro GTS was Australia's first true muscle car, drawing inspiration from American V8 powerhouses. It came with a 5.0-liter V8 pushing 250 horsepower, mated to a 4-speed manual or 3-speed automatic. With sport suspension and front disc brakes, it handled better than most of its rivals. But the real star was its design, a sleek coupe body, racing stripes, and bold colors. The Monaro GTS became the dream car of Aussie gearheads, cementing its status as a performance icon. The Monaro proved itself at the Bathurst 500, Australia's toughest race. Its performance helped establish Holden as a dominant force in motorsport. Over 16,000 Monaros were produced in the first generation, but original GTS models in pristine condition now fetch over 350,000 Australian dollars. Number 4. 1974 Ford Falcon XB GT Coupe. The 1974 Ford Falcon XB GT Coupe is best known as Mad Max's legendary interceptor, but even outside the movies, this car was a muscle icon in its own right. Under the hood, the XB GT packed a 5.8-liter Cleveland V8 pushing 300 horsepower. It came with a 4-speed manual, sport suspension, and 4-wheel disc brakes, making it one of the most well-rounded muscle cars of its era. The design was aggressive and unmistakably tough. With its bulging fenders, shaky hood scoop, and wide stance, the XB GT had the kind of road presence that turned heads everywhere. Ford built it to be a street brawler, fast, loud, and full of attitude. Only 949 XB GT Coupes were made, and thanks to its Mad Max fame, values have skyrocketed. Well-preserved examples easily sell for over 400,000 Australian dollars, making this one of the most sought-after Australian muscle cars ever. With Hollywood stardom and real-world performance, the Falcon XB GT Coupe is an automotive legend, both on the road and on the big screen. Number 3. 1973 Chrysler Valiant Charger E49. The 1973 Chrysler Valiant Charger E49 wasn't just fast, it was record-breaking. When it debuted, it was the fastest 6-cylinder production car in the world. The E49 was powered by a 4.3-liter Hemi Straight 6, delivering an astonishing 302 horsepower. Paired with a close ratio 4-speed manual gearbox, it could rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.1 seconds, a time that put many V8-powered muscle cars to shame. But the E49 wasn't just about straight-line speed, it was a track monster. Its lightweight design and precise handling made it a dominant force in Australian racing, consistently beating bigger, heavier V8 rivals. Only 149 E49 Chargers were ever built, making it one of the rarest Australian muscle cars. Today, collectors pay over 500,000 Australian dollars for mint examples, recognizing its place as one of the greatest muscle cars ever built outside of the US. The E49 proved that muscle wasn't just about big engines. With the right engineering, a 6-cylinder car could take on the world. Number 2. 1978 Holden Torana A9X. The 1978 Holden Torana A9X was the ultimate track weapon, a car built for one purpose: dominance. Powered by a 5.0-liter V8 producing 240 horsepower, the A9X was more than just an engine. It had racing spec suspension, 4-wheel disc brakes, and a heavy-duty differential. It was designed for endurance racing, with upgrades that made it almost unstoppable on the track. The A9X earned legendary status at the Bathurst 1000, Australia's biggest motorsport event. In 1979, racing legend Peter Brock won by 6 laps, an unheard-of margin. cementing the A9X as one of the most dominant cars in racing history. Holden built just 405 A9X hatchbacks, making them extremely rare today. With its Bathurst-winning pedigree, collectors now pay upwards of 750,000 Australian dollars for pristine examples. The A9X wasn't just a car, it was a motorsport legend, the kind of muscle car that defined an era and crushed the competition. Number 1. 1971 Ford Falcon XY GT-HO Phase 3. The 1971 Ford Falcon XY GT-HO Phase 3 is the holy grail of Australian muscle cars. When it was released, it was the fastest four-door production car in the world, and even today, it's the most valuable Australian muscle car ever built. Under the hood was a 5.8-liter Cleveland V8 producing a brutal 380 horsepower. Ford paired it with a 4-speed manual transmission, upgraded suspension, and high-performance brakes, making it an absolute beast on both the street and the racetrack. The Phase 3 was built for one reason: winning at Bathurst. It could hit 140 miles per hour, 225 kilometers an hour, unheard of for a family sedan in the early 70s. Its raw speed and racing success made it an instant legend. Ford only built 300 Phase 3s, and because of their extreme rarity and legendary status, values have skyrocketed past 1.5 million Australian dollars. Some pristine examples have been fetched close to 2 million Australian dollars at auctions. The XY GT-HO Phase 3 is the king of Australian muscle cars. It wasn't just a machine, it was a statement, proving that Australian muscle could compete with the best in the world. While the American muscle car scene gets most of the spotlight, Australia built some incredible world-class performance machines. These cars were built tough, fast, and often outperformed their international rivals. From the brute force power of the Ford Falcon XY GT-HO Phase 3 to the racing precision of the Holden Torana A9X, Aussie muscle cars proved they could hang with the best of Detroit's muscle machines. And with skyrocketing collector prices, their legendary status only continues to grow. For American muscle car fans, these Aussie classics are hidden gems, machines that deserve a place in muscle car history.